You're listening to Nerds Out of Water with Michael Lobb and David Kemmis. Nerds Out of Water is a podcast brought to you by Michael, myself, and David Kemmis. We're two good friends who have partnered on and off with business and over the last 20 years. David runs a company called One Bright Cloud, where he heads up a team of techs and futurists looking at autonomous vehicles, AI, and digital transformation as a prerequisite for Industry 4.0.
Thank you, Michael. Michael runs Team Scale, providing technology advice and solutions to companies having trouble scaling up, which there are a lot of, enabling those businesses to grow and keep technologies on track. We challenge our own perspectives and try and see things from each other's perspective. You don't need to agree, but after listening to this show, I am sure you will have your own opinion.
So, David, it's been a weird couple of weeks. Like, New Zealand is opening back up. Vietnam is already way opened up. Yet here in Australia, we're still, Queensland's still locked down a little bit. And the rest of the world on the other hemisphere seems to be breaking a bit. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Most of the people I've been working with are now back at work, if not for 2 or 3 days a week. They're back full time. I think it's pretty good to start going back now and to start slowly opening our borders as we think it's necessary. I think it's good for our own mental health and our own mental stability to understand that we need to do this slowly. And for people who are having troubles, it will help them come back to a reality where they can start talking to people. What about yourself?
Look, I went into the office for one day this week. It was interesting. It was nice to see people in person, but I think that it was a really difficult, it's going to be difficult for people to go back into the office regularly who have been enjoying the way of working from home. So, you and I work from home a lot. I know a lot of people who work from their own homes or from, places where they're on their own, and they're quite happy with it. Those sorts of people who have been working like that are going to find it difficult to go back into an office environment where they have to share space with other people and they're being interrupted daily or, hourly or every minute. I feel sorry for those people, and I'm one of them. I don't like being in an office environment. I much prefer the other way of working, which is, get your work done and communicate online, and it works really well for most people.
Well, we found it works very well for our businesses, both your company and mine. We operate around the world. We don't have an office to go to every single day, apart from the offices that we have for our customers. And half the time we're protecting them from people like ourselves and who either want to hack into us or cause us harm, or we are trying to help them sort out their own technologies and keep them moving.
Now, I saw you posted this week about mental health, which is what I'm quite passionate about.
Yep.
And you said, be kind to your mind. Do you want to go through that? I mean, I know this is to do with COVID-19, but it actually would be really beneficial to anyone who's going back into an office environment. And, I know myself, I need to build myself up to go into an office environment sometimes.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people who are very, very anxious about going back into the office. They know they need to, both from a work point of view and from a mental health point of view, but they're really worried about going back because of what happens to wave 2, or if the virus comes over again, or any multiple things. The good thing about Queensland is over the last week or so, we've only had one new case, I think it is. So we're in a really good position, along with majority of states in Australia. And keeping our borders locked down is good, and I'm sure we'll open them at the right time. But being kind to yourself right now is really important. And this isn't my terminology. This comes from Head to Health. It's a government website, so I'm not going to take the credit for it. But this mentality is, 1, pause. Take a breath and reflect on life, which is a very good statement. 2, keep to a healthy routine. And that means in the morning when the alarm goes off for work, you don't stay in bed. You get up and you do the work, or you go into work. 3, and this is something you and I have said many, many times, connect with others. It's really important to talk to other people. And it's important to have that one-on-one conversation, preferably through some form of video conferencing. So you get the view of the person you're talking to. But if you can't video conference them, give them a phone call. 4, be kind to yourself and others. And again, that means look after yourself, look after your body, have a bit of exercise, walk around the block, walk around the house. I know that yesterday I walked around the house to get my steps up because I've really mentally been forcing myself to do a number of steps a day to keep my own wits about me, because I haven't been doing the walking around the city where I usually get up 10 or 15,000 steps. I've been in my own house and I'm not been visiting customers. I've been Skyping them. So be kind to yourself. Look after yourself and what you're doing. And finally, reach out. If you are struggling, reach out to a coworker, reach out to someone who knows. And there are plenty of places online that you can get a phone number for, and reach out to one of those and speak to them.
Yeah, I'd heavily recommend Beyond Blue. They've done wonders for many people I know. 1300 224636 is the number. I'd reach out to them.
Say that number again, please.
1300 224636.
Thank you.
Or you can go to beyondblue.org.au.
Great.
2 of the other things you mentioned there, like our routine is really important. I mean, I've been way out of whack with my routine over the last few weeks. I was in a really good routine working from home, but then a few personal things happened and I got to the point where, my routine is really out of whack. I used to go to work, go for a walk at 5 o'clock in the morning in order to get to work by 7:30. Now it's dark until 6:30. So, how do I get out of bed when it's dark? Well, I've been trying to force myself to do it. And part of that is so that I can go for a walk. And I try to get my 10,000 steps a day. That's really important. It's really important because I use an app that actually earns cryptocurrency based on the number of steps you do per day. And you can use that cryptocurrency to, donate to worthy causes. So it's a really good investment. And walking 10,000 steps a day is, supposed to be really healthy for you. So
unless you trip over the curb.
And stretch. Do you stretch?
I do stretch. I stretch a lot. Well, I stretch every time my little Samsung watch tells me to stretch. I have been absolutely doing that rigidly, that every time...
Are we going back to the watches again?
No, we're not going to go down the Samsung Galaxy watch. But when it tells me to do it, I make sure that I do stretch because I know that I haven't been. But while the kids were at home and doing homeschooling, I had to do stretching and exercise for 20 minutes at 8:30 every single morning.
Why is that?
Because at school, that's what they do before class.
Right.
And that's what they had to do.
We should do that in the office.
What a great idea. I think it's places like China and most of Asia do a lot of Japan. They do stretching. It's part of the office routine. I've seen pictures of hundreds of office workers standing outside stretching before they go into work.
Yep.
No, but it's very important. Stretch before you start exercising.
Yeah.
Very good points.
No, definitely. The other thing I have been doing a lot of is to bring us back to the tech space, I have an app called Headspace. It's a really brilliant app, and if you there's many guided meditation apps out there. I find Headspace works for me because it's really about just being yourself and being in your own mind for a little while. It calms me down. It gives me 10 minutes a day to actually just stop and think about or not think about things. And that to me is brilliant. It really does provide a lot of benefit. Do you have anything like that?
I actually don't. I know that I have family members who use podcasts similar to this for going to sleep at night. And there's one particular podcast I wish I could know. I knew the actual.
Is that podcast your pitch last week?
My pitch last week? I can't remember.
The one where you gave a pitch and it was like, oh, God, David, this is going on for years.
No, but it's a podcast where it's relaxing and they listen to it every night. And it's stories about absolutely nothing, about stories about someone going to the shops, and it's just blank space. I really wish I had the name of it. I will get it for next week and we'll actually speak about it. And maybe that's what we do. We speak about a couple of podcasts next week. But it is a mind-setting.
Yeah. And there's ocean sounds and there's white noise and things like that as well, isn't there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's some that I do. I listen to white noise and ocean sound podcasts quite a bit, but I don't have a Headspace app, which I have heard of and I have known people utilize.
Yeah. I have no problems falling asleep. After the day's done, my brain is dead and I need to fall asleep. And
he says, drinking a nice glass of red.
Yeah. Look, I want to talk about something else. We've all been in. There's a lot of bad press about Facebook at the moment.
Mm-hmm. There is.
Facebook are not the golden child that they used to be. However, and this is a really controversial topic, but Facebook are actually helping crime agencies find child predators. One of these articles here that I read today was about Facebook had helped the FBI find an exploit in Tails. Tails is a distribution of Linux that a lot of hackers would use and know about. They found an exploit that enabled the FBI to catch this predatory behavior. And, to me, that is Facebook doing good. I'm still so torn between, is Facebook evil or are they good, or are they just doing what they do and it's neither good or bad?
In my opinion, I think Facebook are doing what they do, because if you want to go down that line, are Google doing what they do? Because
Google have a message or a motto that says "Don't be evil."
Yep.
Are they?
But we are the ones. We are the ones who put the data onto Facebook. We are the ones who spread the information, and everything you put on the web, doesn't matter how secure you think it is. If you are putting it on a social media site, you have to believe you're putting it on for everybody to see. Even if you think you've got a Facebook account that's locked down completely, you've got to believe that at some point that will be hacked and that will be in the press. That's the way I look at it.
And I agree with you. And, sure, I don't have I've probably got some embarrassing stuff on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn from, the late 2000s.
Probably with me.
In this particular case, Facebook have... Yeah, probably. Facebook would have an amazing team of offensive and defensive cybersecurity experts, I'd imagine. Maybe even better than some of the governments in the world, I'd suggest, because, really Facebook are one of the Facebook and Google and Microsoft and Amazon are probably, the top four in terms of, tech abilities and stuff like that. So Facebook having this team of offensive and defensive cybersecurity people means that they can actually contribute to finding unethical behavior, in this case, child exploitation, which is abhorrent. My concern is at what line, where do they draw the line to that? Where do they draw the line to saying, well, we're going to help the FBI find this person who we think is a terrorist, but maybe isn't?
Well,
we just want to find out more about them.
But then you start looking down into governments and how governments are hacking other governments to exploit the other government for our safety. And then we look at how governments are hacking into our data for our safety.
Yeah.
Where do we draw the line?
So that's their job. That's not Facebook's job.
No, that's not. No, I agree. Or do I agree? Do I agree? Because if Facebook have been asked to, would they do it?
Not in some cases, no. Apple were asked to unlock a phone by a a person, who was suspected of a similar thing, and they refused to do it. And in Apple's defense, they can't do it because they built it with that level of security. So it's not a thing that they can just go, oh, don't worry, we've got a backdoor for that.
Yeah.
In this case, Facebook have gone, you know what, we've got the talented people. We can probably help you with that. And then there's, governments I know are capable of this and in some ways tasked with this by the people of the country.
Yeah.
But Facebook is an American-owned company with employees all over the world, employees and contractors all over the world. They're not a defense agency for the US government.
Yet.
It's kind of like a 50-50 thing. Like, yeah, they did a good job in this case, but they might do a not good job in another place, or a job that actually exploits someone in another case.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh. And, it's hard, isn't it? It's really hard.
It's a hard one. I agree. I'm 50-50. I think Facebook are just doing a job, and I think that we are the ones who are providing the information freely.
Yeah. So if the US government came along and said, oh, we want to shut down Australia, let's just say, and Facebook said, oh, yeah, we've got the talent to do that, are they just doing a job?
Yeah.
That's not right.
No.
And I mean, there's been a lot of other, I won't say abuse of power, but just the use of power to threaten to shut down Twitter by a narcissist who shall remain unnamed, when Twitter said that they would fact check his tweets. And
yeah, I think they should. If he doesn't,
he signed the terms and conditions.
That's right. And if he tweets something, that person, that person or any person of power who are putting up inflammatory or known to be fake news or known to be incorrect information, I think they should be removed. I think their tweets, their Facebook posts should be reviewed. It's very important that our kids today know that every action has a consequence.
Well, look at the smallest level of this. How many messages do you get a day saying, oh, today's the day that Facebook is going to change the rules and all of your photos will become public and all you have to do is post this into your timeline. What do the answer to that is bullshit.
Yeah.
You sign the terms and conditions. They have the right to do whatever you want. Putting a post up saying you don't have the right to do this doesn't change that fact. But wouldn't it be good if when someone posted that, it gave them feedback to say, you know what, that's not quite right. Click here to find out more about what you've just posted.
Maybe. Yep.
Sure, we'll make your post public because, that's our job. But hey, take a look at this. Here's the opposing point of view and, maybe we can swing your opinion towards. And I guess that's what the problem is. It's maybe we can swing your opinion towards what our opinion is.
And that's something, so two things there. One, I think everybody should occasionally, once every couple of months, once every 6 months, should download their Facebook data and have a look at it and see what they've actually put up through that year. The other thing that really does worry me, and this comes on to a bit of AI, is Facebook have the capability of only accepting positive or negative tweets, statements, and they can change the reaction. And they've trialed this. Actually, I can't remember where they trialed it, but they trialed this in a city where they only allowed positive statements to go up.
Yeah,
they didn't hide them; they just pushed them down the Facebook feed,
down the algorithm.
And is that correct? Should you just post everything as it comes up, or does Facebook have the right to be able to change almost consequences?
Let's take this back to the age of the philosophers in Greece, where, David, you would come to me with an opinion of, the Earth is flat, Michael. We know this for a fact.
It is definitely a fact. I've got evidence.
And Michael would say, I'd like to debate that because here are some diagrams that I drew and I'd just like to bring this fact to light. And we'd all have a discussion about it and we wouldn't make a decision on it. We'd just say, I understand your point of view. And we don't have that now. We don't have that, do we?
No.
We just go, here's my point of view. Gone.
And I would have said it's flat. And Facebook would have altered your statement to be, I have a point of view.
It's heresy. Don't listen to this guy. Here's a link that says the earth is flat.
Facebook would have changed it to, I have a point of view. I have pictures to provide evidence that you're correct, David.
I mean, looking at the other person's point of view, I mean, I what I'm like musically, I don't necessarily enjoy the top 40. I don't listen to radio. But every now and then I'll check out the top 40 because I know that there are talented musicians. I know that there are amazing producers. I know that there's brilliant songwriters, and listening to the top 40 listening to top 40 music as an antithesis to what I like provides me a gamut of understanding. I know what that sounds like. So therefore it makes me appreciate the music that I like better, which is obviously Gregorian chants.
Lovely.
Anyway.
And if we look at Google have got a Hong Kong situation. They also had a Chinese one for a very short time. They spent a lot of money trying to get into China. They were accepted into China, and then China changed their mind. Where do you get off? And now if you try and Google on China...
Sorry, I just put you off, didn't I? So start from now. Now, if you Google from China.
Now, if you Google from China, I don't know what you get because they have their own search engines and they remove anything of conspiracy out of it. In actual fact, facts out of it.
Or anything that's anti-government. Anything that's anti-government,
yep.
That's fine. Yeah. And that's they are a country that owns their own country. They want to do their own thing, and that's their capability, I guess. So what we've got to try and understand is that everyone has different methods of managing their own data.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say people, but their own data. And in China's case, they can do what they like. They're a sovereign nation. Sovereign nation, is that right? I don't know. They're a nation of their own. They can choose to do what they want with how they want to do it.
So then we go on to hackers, and without people who can hack, we don't find the exploits that negative hackers will use to get into us.
You mean black hat hackers?
Black hat hackers, yeah.
So the white hat guys go out there, find the exploits.
Yep, the red team.
And the black hat guys the black hats are out there finding the exploits as well. So if the white hats can find them, and I'm sure that there are so many red teams in Facebook that they're finding these exploits, which they did to hunt down this child predator, and great, And
that actually is a really positive result. And without that first hack of, was it X number of million passwords, where we proved that all the passwords, I think it was mid-2000s, where we found that everyone's password were 123 ABC and password and ABCD, we wouldn't have realised that we, first of all, held passwords in plain text. And secondly, we wouldn't have realised that we need some really secure passwords.
Yeah. And secure passwords, two-factor authentication, biometrics. Speaking of biometrics. There's
a conversation that I wanted to have. We look at biometrics now at how fingerprints, eye recognition, facial recognition is going on. And I want to touch on some of the negative sides of biometrics because I believe biometrics.
It's unlike you. You're normally a really positive guy. So, touching on the negative sides of things is...
Especially around biometrics, because I think biometrics are really positive and we should be pushing for them because they're far less susceptible to be hacked.
Yeah.
But there are now cases of people hacking biometrics. Not only, you see in James Bond where you cut off your finger and you've got the fingerprint. Oh, That's a bit of a painful way.
Yeah, or you put a bit of tape on the wine glass and then pull that off and then put it on the fingerprint scanner.
And the scary thing is that actually has been proven to work. But more to the case is people are hacking into biometric systems and changing the facial algorithm and the biometric fingerprint algorithm of the individuals.
Replacing it.
So now our thieves are thinking ahead of how we're getting, and they're removing your fingerprint.
Yep.
They're removing your data, and they're becoming somebody else. And there's been a few cases specifically over in the US recently where stolen data template has really come about. What do you think?
Look,
there you go. I threw you in.
It's kind of like a really tough one because I've not been around biometrics so much. So when I say that, I use a fingerprint scanner on my phone and my laptop, but that's it. I did have an iris scan for a client once where I had to use my eyeball to open a door and an eyeball to open the door to go out as well, which was interesting. But I've always relied on old-fashioned RFID, which can be easily hacked, or passwords or different levels of authentication.
Hold on. Let's go back. Did you say RFID?
The old swipe cards is, 90% of offices have them, I'm sure.
The old swipe cards, 90% of offices have them. And they also have a little picture of the person on the front of them. And I reckon they're the most insecure things out because you can just walk in.
Yep.
You can scan somebody as you walk past them. You can lay that onto another card, which happens to have your picture on it. And, of course, if you want to break in, you've already got a photograph of a card. So it now looks real, and now you're in the building.
Even so, they're all very consistent. Like, just make one. When they ask you, oh, no, I'm a contractor.
How many have you got lying around? Have you got any lying around?
Yeah, about 15. Well, I've still got their cab charges that don't exist anymore. So
Do we want to admit how many we've got lying around? Yes.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I guess biometric data is supposed to be a lot more secure than those prox cards that you just swipe as you go in.
Very definitely.
I mean, I've actually got like 3 clients who've just got PIN numbers on their doors, and it's not uncommon. They've got a prox card as well, but
it's either 1, 2, 3, 4, or it's the 4 corners.
I'm not commenting on that.
It's nearly always the same.
But wouldn't it be great if, like, 2 points of authentication? Have you got the prox card? Yes. Have you got your fingerprint? Yes. Okay, great. You're allowed in. Does that make it inconvenient for people? Yeah. You go to the toilet, you got to come back in. Oh my God, that's a pain in the ass. But what's more of a pain in the ass is getting stuff stolen from your office that should otherwise be, secure in your office. And that sort of stuff could be, it could be physical stuff like, i.e. money or, gift cards or laptops or whatever, but it could actually be good IP like AI models that are proprietary. Mm-hmm. It could be customer data. It could be just that they've left a box in your office that's plugged into a secure network port. And those things are really dangerous. So, with biometric, I think it's got to be, I would like to see 2 points of ID on entry to secure buildings.
I agree.
2 easy things for you to do, but for not you, it would be hard. But
make sure you secure your buildings down, not just the front door, because most naughty boys come in the back door.
Okay, David.
or up the ramp. What? From experience, if you're going to break into a government building or any other facility,
I think we should leave it there.
The ramp is the easiest way to get in. But everything from...
You know what the best way to come in is? Come in by drone. Have a drone deliver you.
Come in by drone. Drone deliveries. There are so many exciting drone deliveries. You're changing my subject.
I just don't want you to give away your secrets.
I hadn't finished on my security spiel. What, walking through the back door? Really? So what's been happening with drones? Have you had anything exciting been going on? Or should I talk about Canberra and what they're doing?
Look, So, I mean, drones, look, I'm not a big drone guy. You are. I'm not. I love drone photography. I've got the Apple screensavers that have all the 4K drone stuff on there. It's amazing. But what I'm really interested in is that there's in the States, they're using, during this pandemic, they're using drones to deliver library books, which is really cool because I love learning, and I think that if you stop learning, you kind of may as well give up. And delivering library books by drone, if you can't go out and get a library book, and and you don't have Audible or anything like that, which a lot of people don't, it's really cool to just get a library book and, oh, great, I'm going to read this. And I think delivering those by drone is amazing. In saying that, I have seen an episode of Black Mirror. I think it was Black Mirror, but it was, where the drones turned on everyone, and that scared the crap out of me. But hey, drones.
Boom, boom, boom. Well, in Australia, in Canberra, we have a company called Wing that is now delivering food, hot coffee, hot tea, hardware, pharmacy, pet, homewares, all sorts of things through drones. And it's come about recently, and I think this is so exciting. So not only is Australia Post delivering post to regional Australia through drone deliveries, and we've got
are they fixed wing drones, or are they like helicopter drones?
No, they're helicopter drones. Yep,
okay.
Four blade helicopter drones, and they're really clever.
Because I thought maybe rural delivery would be better served by fixed wings, like more.
My apologies. With the Canberra is helicopter.
Yeah.
The Australia Post are using fixed wing.
Nice. Okay.
And I think on the south side of Brisbane, they're delivering pizzas by drone. Not sure how that's set off and how that's going.
I'm on the south side of Brisbane, the very south side of Brisbane.
You're on the very, very south side of Brisbane. I have to say, I've been playing around recently with a water drone, and this is a large drone that can land in the water, and it can take 4K photos in under the water. It drops the camera all the way down, and then you can lift up the camera and you can take off, and it's amazing. It's a swell drone, and I've been doing a lot of playing around with this. You can crash it into the water and you can flip it, and this is something that they've been trialling some of the rescue, the air rescue at the beaches.
Okay.
With.
Yep.
So it's been a good thing.
Yep. If you want to try that out in my lake sometime, I'd really, really like that.
We will pop over and do that and have some fun. I've got two of them sitting right next to me at the moment.
I know that I have a stingray in my lake, and I want to find him or her.
You have a Loch Ness monster?
No, I don't. This is not Scotland.
I think you do. Not in Scotland.
No, I do actually think that, eventually we're going to get to the point where we're delivering by drone a lot more.
Yep.
I know Australia Post is looking at cutting their postal service, so only get delivered every second day. And of the 4 posties, one will do two rounds, I think, and then the other one will do the other 2 rounds, and then one will do larger parcels, and then the 4th one will be laid off, which
Oh, they haven't said anybody's going to be laid off.
Yeah, I know, but they've said they're not going to replace them.
Well, be careful. They've been talking about this for a long time. This isn't just recently.
No.
Prior to COVID-19, Australia Post were really struggling because no one was using the postal service anymore.
In fact, I'd imagine that Australia Post is doing a lot better now.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Australia Post everyone has said, yes, we need Australia Post. It's very vital. But before COVID-19, everyone said, who cares? We don't want them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to your library books. There are many people, especially elderly, and I look at my dad. He's nearly 90 years of age over in the UK. He reads He doesn't do Facebook. He doesn't do anything. You're lucky if I get him on the phone and I can talk to him on Skype without talking to his ear. But he is doing it a little bit miserly. But he likes books. I think this would be awesome for him right now, as he's not allowed out the house.
Yep, I agree. And I think that's the kind of demographic that we're looking at, is those people who don't do technology. You know, if it were me, I'd be reading ebooks or I'd be listening to Audible or whatever. But there are people who actually like the physical touch of books. And don't get me wrong, I love the smell of a book. Reading a book, I can do it online in hard copy. I can listen to it while I'm walking. I've actually been listening to fewer books since I've not been going to various offices around the place and less driving. So because I used to listen to a lot of audiobooks. So when I was driving, I'd be listening to an audiobook. And then since I've not been driving for the last 2 months, you know, not only has my petrol bill gone down, my audiobook bill has gone down.
I'm glad of that, because I've never had audiobook. But I've noticed that somehow over the last 3 months, while I've been looking at what books to read, I've managed to set myself up an audio book account, and it's now taking money out of my account by error. So I've obviously clicked user error, as in a David did this error. I've obviously said, let me have a look with my free login. I do not have a glass of whiskey around me, so I cannot confer that one.
Not good. Yeah. By error, user error? Is it an ID10T error?
It is.
Or is it a whiskey error? Yeah. Anyway, look, it's been good to talk to you again, David, and I think we should wrap it up there and move on to the looking forward to our next podcast. We do have some really cool people we're talking to in the next few months. So please subscribe using your podcast software. You know, just click the subscribe button wherever that is on your screen. It'll be somewhere. We also would love you to make contact with us and tell us what you'd like to listen to or like us to talk about. David's Twitter account is at Dave7. That's the numeral 7. And I'm Michael Lobb, MICHAELLOBB.
And as we started with Facebook, you should also go and have a look at the Nerds Out of Water Facebook page.
I know. We actually have a Facebook page now.
We do indeed.
You can actually look at it. You can actually see all of our previous podcasts, including a few interviews that I did, a few interviews that David's done, some really random discussions that David and I have had. But, you know, go and get on there and comment and send us your feedback. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you very much for listening, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.